Hey y'all, welcome back to Andy's Little Homestead. As y'all can see, I have officially changed my hat for the year, which means winter's coming. As y'all know, when I crawl out of my hole and there's a straw hat on my head, you know there's 6 more weeks of summer. Not the case. It was 44 degrees this morning, which means we've got some wood to handle. I got all this done just here and there over the last few weeks because it's cheaper than therapy. Today we're gonna get it wrapped up. We're gonna get it stacked where it belongs. We're gonna talk about some tools and stuff. I'll probably have some crap to fix. It's gonna be a good time. But for right now, let's get to work. So let's talk about species. What we're working with this year is almost exclusively cherry, and that's for one reason. Stupid goats chewed all the bark off cherry trees out in the pasture. They were gonna die anyway. So that's what we got. And for wood stove heating purposes, cherry is what I call like a medium grade firewood. It's not the best in the whole world, but it's really not bad at all. You can't complain about having it. If you look up online, you can find charts that show how many million BTUs you get out of 1 quart of firewood, and cherry is right there in the middle, but it burns clean and it smells good. It's fantastic for a smoker, and most importantly for me, it is available. Oaks and maples are fantastic too. I do have a couple oak logs that aren't quite suitable for the mill that are gonna go in the pile as well. And as you can see, I got a bunch of pine behind me, but none of this is gonna be firewood. Pine has a lot of resin in it. It creates creosote, clogs up the inside of your chimney. Get a real bad dirty chimney and that creosote catches on fire, you got real problems. It burns hot and fast. It's better than freezing to death, but that's about it. I got a little friend who's watching me. Hey little buddy. His name's Chip because I'm unoriginal. Next thing we're going to talk about is the tools to make this happen. Y'all, I have been through quite a few splitting mauls. This one, the Stihl, it's worth it, dude. It's expensive, but whatever it is that they figured out with the geometry of the wedge on it, I don't know how they did it. This thing blows through wood and I highly recommend it. I like having the wooden handle because of shock reduction. I ain't got much cartilage left, but it's also got this nice metal collar on the top of it. When you're going through a real large log, you're bound to hit the handle on something that avoids it. I know it seems ridiculous that I'm recommending a $100 splitting maul, but I absolutely am. And nobody paid me to say that. It is just that good. The second tool is this little guy right here. It's called a pickaroon, or it's also called a hookaroon if your mother is using one. It may not seem like much, but having the ability to just go and pick up a log with it is really, really convenient. It saves your back. My buddy Mike gave this to me, and I'm happy to have it. Of course, you could totally avoid all that and have a log splitter. I got a log splitter, but splitting by hand is more fun. But I still believe in efficiency, so anything that was like all twisted, knotted up, bad grains, I don't fight with it. I just set it off over here and I'll tackle it with the log splitter later. Last one. That's a pretty good amount of wood we got there, but I'll tell you one thing, it definitely looks bigger on camera. You got to make sure you get your angles right. As you can see, we ended up with a lot of different sizes, and that's okay. Well, actually, it's preferred because that way we've got small stuff when we need kindling. We've got big stuff when we want to stuff it full and let the wood stove run all night without having to add to it. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting kind of tired. So now we've got to pay for our mistakes. And the biggest mistake that I made was putting this pile back here. I didn't expect to pick up so many people supplying me with logs. I'm grateful for it, but I ran out of spaces to put them, and now all these logs are in the way. I also figured on selling some of this year. I thought I was going to be getting more throughout the year, and it just didn't end up happening that way. So everything that we cut is for us. It doesn't need to be up here. It needs to be back at the chicken house. This is further complicated by the fact that I managed to put a hole in that tube at some point. I'm not really sure when. So now I'm going to show y'all how to patch a tire tube. Actually really simple. We've still got some air in here. First we got to find a leak, so soapy water. We'll give it a squeeze and look for bubbles. And there it is right there. I'm gonna clean up around where it got dinged. It was a slow leak, so I'm not surprised that the hole isn't very big. Now we just got a rubber patch kit. It's got little patches and rubber cement and a little scuffer upper thingy. So we'll hit it real quick with the scuffer upper. Put the rubber cement on there, and you let it tack up a little bit. Peel the back off of that, stick it on there, she'll be good to go. The biggest thing with doing these patches, make sure you let the glue tack up, because when you just stick it on there while it's still real wet, it doesn't end up bonding and it curls the edges of the patch itself. We'll get this thing put back in there and get to work. So I had tried to mount this with it still on the machine, and that just wasn't gonna happen. Now last time I mounted a tire, I used a claw hammer stuck in one side, and a few people mentioned in the comments, hey, use vice grips instead. That was a good idea. That said, this is a considerably beefier tire than what's on the truck, and it's a pain in the butt no matter what I do. So I've been fighting with this for a good 45 minutes, and I've said some things that I'm gonna need to account for when I talk to Jesus. So we're gonna do something different. So now we're at a critical juncture where I can make things right where I had them wrong this whole time. You see, I could have avoided this mess if I just was careful where I stuck my wood instead of just throwing it around all willy-nilly. But now we have the chance to make a decision that's going to help us out long-term down the road. With the chicken house being right here, I want to make sure that I've placed my wood somewhere that it's easily accessible to anybody who wants to grab hold of it. That can be difficult in winter when your hands and everything else are freezing up. So there's the main door to the chicken house. I think this is gonna be our spot. So I figure if I have a spot over there to drop all the rounds and a spot right there where I stack it, eventually a woodshed, but we ain't doing that right now. Then I've got a nice spot to drive in with the rounds, and I can keep my hands off my wood as much as possible. I also need to make sure I avoid anything over here where we put our hydraulic root cellar that's definitely not a septic tank. So I reckon we'll dump our load, start pushing some dirt around. And there we go. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't really plan on building a driveway today, but we'll call that a happy little accident because it needed to happen anyway. So now we're gonna set up our stack. In the interest of saving y'all's time, there we go. Got two T-posts 16 feet apart. Got some wood down on the ground. That was all stuff that came from the wall collapse that had just too many nails to justify pulling out of. I put the T-posts exactly 4 feet high so that we'll have 2 face cords across this line. And as we keep stacking, we'll bump it on forward. It may actually surprise some of y'all that people spend lots and lots of money on fancy wrought iron firewood holders and crap like that, but this works just fine. The assembly time took about 44 seconds. And in the interest of saving my own time, I brought one of my favorite pastimes to this activity, child labor. And I brought Carlos to supervise. Say hi, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey, tell Jen Hughes that she needs to let Mike buy a tractor. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm on Jen's side.
I don't like either of y'all. All right, y'all, we got us a decent stack of firewood there. Most common measurement used in this area is what's called the face cord, which is just a single row stack that's 4 feet tall and 8 feet long. The standard cord measurement is 4 feet, 4 feet, and 8 feet. So 3 face cords. Y'all, I was so dang proud of my boys for doing this. I stacked up exactly 1 scoop out of all this, and they did every scrap of the rest of it. It's nice to have a little bit of help when you need it, and it's really nice not paying them a lot. Unfortunately though, I don't think the 2 standard cords is going to be enough. This will be our first year heating exclusively with heating exclusively with wood. We're heating exclusively with wood, and I'd like to have some wiggle room, so my goal before the snow starts flying is to double this. Chicken house is only like 500 square feet anyway, so. Quick note on the stack, airflow is your friend. So we did leave gaps in between the rows there. For all the Canadians who've been hassling me about it from the beginning, I will be covering this, but when I cover it, I'm just gonna do the top. I wanna make sure I'm continuing to have that airflow in through the sides so it can continue to dry. But for right now, we got about a week in the forecast without any rain. I'm gonna leave it open until it starts coming up again. But y'all, I gotta say, there are few experiences that are more satisfying than cutting your own wood to heat your own house, chicken house. Not a house that people live in, chicken house for the winter. Being able to take a raw, God-given natural resource and turn it into something that's useful. Well, there's a level of job satisfaction in that you don't get with other things. I I love cutting wood. Lucky for me, I ain't gonna be done anytime soon. But seeing that whole stack sitting there all nice and neat and pretty and ready to go, that'll make a man happy. As always, I hope y'all enjoyed and I hope you learned something. I love you and God bless. As a whole, I pretty much just ignore any kind of negativity that goes on. But every now and again, I like to address it because it's fun for me. The other day, I posted a picture and I had my boys sitting on top of this stack of firewood, and they were just so dang proud for getting it done, and I was just so dang proud for them. And a whole bunch of y'all were super supportive, and I'm thankful for that. And then there was about 8 of y'all who had something to say about the fact that I said that it was 6 face chords instead of 2 chords, which is both are accurate, but you had something to say about it. Ignoring the fact that face chords are a pretty standard measurement for this area, it's different in different places, I know. Crazy concept. You take a sweet heartwarming photo like that and your first thought is to talk crap about the measurement system, just know that I know and everybody else knows that you're working with about 2.5 inches of wood. So you can say what you want. We all feel bad for you anyway.